On the horizon for 2020 is, this is interesting, mandatory retirement savings. If you are an employer of 5 or more employees, employers will be required to register with CalSavers, which is through the California Treasury Department. And there's no cost or liability to the employer, but here's what they're required to do. They register with the CalSavers. They send a letter out to the employees and say, this is, you have this opportunity to save money for your retirement. We will take it right out of your check and it'll be sent over to the Treasury Department. They're going to have a third party administer the thing. And then they can select how to invest it and so on. The employees can select that. It's not required, it's not mandatory for the employees. They don't have to if they don't want to, but it's a nice option if they want to. And there's absolutely no cost or liability to the employer, which I think is really great, because this is cheap in replacement for 401k. 401k for an employer is very expensive. It has a lot of fees associated with, they have to have a minimum amount of money that they put into it, and there's a lot of fiscal liability in that. If something goes sideways in how the 401k is managed, the employer is liable. And so this is when it's going to be rolled out. California says that as of June 30th, 2020, which is really not that far away, that's about a year out, right? Maybe a little bit more. For the larger companies of 101 or more employees, they have to have it in place. That means they have to have it in place. It has to be rolling. Not like they get started. They have to be rolling at that point. Right now, CalSavers is being piloted with several companies, and they're going to expand that pilot to see, help employers and get feedback on how to improve the system. One question I have, and I couldn't find an answer on this, is the employee funds that they put into the account, is that going to be pre-tax or post-tax? So is that going to lighten the burden on employees, like would it on a 401k, where it would lighten the burden on income tax? And also, respectively, for the employer, it lowers the workers' comp and other employment taxes for them. So I don't know, and so I'm going to be researching this more and paying attention to this, because this is 5 or more employees. This is like mostly everybody, right? Unless you're a micro business. Okay, and I provided you guys a handout for this one, employers' to-dos. So my recommendations are for you to plan your harassment prevention training for all non-supervisory staff. So think about that, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, etc. And by the way, it has to be interactive. It can't just be watch a video. It has to be interactive. That's part of the requirement. And then roll out your harassment prevention training for your supervisors, because that's a 2-hour, and honestly, if you're going to have a problem, it's going to be with a supervisor, because they don't understand. And you want to make sure that the managers understand. And so managers, supervisors, anybody that's managing staff. So like business owners, if you don't, if it's a business owner and they don't have managers, they just manage their own staff, it applies to them too. Then ensure that your arbitration, release, and severance agreements are current. That means that they're changed to match the new requirements that I listed. And also you should make sure that any kind of hiring documents or interview, relative to hiring, make sure that they reflect the current state of the law, meaning don't ask for salary history on your applications or during an interview. And you want to make sure that the people that are interviewing understand what the law is, that they understand what they can ask and what they can't ask. Because already they can't ask a bunch of stuff about protected classes according to the Title VII, right? So, you can't ask somebody, oh, do you have any children? Cannot ask that. Where do you live? Cannot ask that. What church do you go to? Cannot ask that. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things you can ask about a person's only can be relevant to what the job is and the company that they're working for or that they want to work for and their skill sets and their experience.
So you can't ask either, I don't know, if you had a record.
You cannot ask that. The only thing that you can say is you do a disclosure on your application saying if you need, and it's only if it's a business requirement, you can say serious candidates to be considered for employment upon offer, a background investigation will be done. But you cannot ask them if they have any prior convictions.
So the person that's applying could say no or yes or?
Yeah. Yep.
I used to ask contractors that I would hire, we have I would say, hey, we have a background check, just so I don't waste your time. Mm-hmm. Will you be able to pass that? Is that okay, or is that gray area, or is that not okay? It's not specific.
Yeah, I mean, okay, independent contractors are different than employees.
Okay.
So this doesn't apply to independent contractors.
But if it was an employee, it would probably be better not to ask that question.
Yeah.
Just to let them know that there is one.
Well, I would not tell them that, I would put it on their application.
Okay.
This way, you have a blanket statement that everybody, there's no interpretation, you know what I'm saying? People say things in different ways. This way, it's said one way every time, the same way. And then ensure that you have appropriate lactation accommodations available before the mother returns from her pregnancy disability leave. Don't wait until she's coming back. You want to have time to plan and get things done. So that concludes the whole presentation, and I just want to open the floor for any other questions that you might have. Questions, comments? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.